Party people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 63 of the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolved. Last time, we finished up the fourth case in the game, where we found Susato's father was knocked unconscious on Sherlock Holmes' couch, and then we discovered that after a deduction session, that Iris stole the Clint Van Zeek's autopsy report from the autopsy lab, and then basically discovered that Eugene was actually Sherlock's partner and not John H. Wilson. John H. Wilson, he's now gone. He's just cast off to the side. He's nothing now. It's all Eugene all the time. And then we ended the fourth case off, and we then started the fifth case, which is pretty much just a continuation of the last case.
Oh, it looks like some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Groose, first class cabin, 001.
The Groose is loose. The SS Groose. That would be the ultimate battleship. The SS Groose. Oh man, you have the Groose. It's named after Groose from Skyward Sword and his epic pompadour. Groose's theme plays and as it rushes into the battle. Dum 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 dum.
Yokohama departure, 11th of September. London arrival 1st of November.
Ah, that's the boat Professor Mikotoba and Judge Chigoku came on from Japan, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's called the Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover.
To think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Bordia. It seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary.
And I kept mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone?
Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruto?
Did I imagine, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Susato is done with you, Ryunosuke. She's done with you. So the time has finally come. Today, we unravel everything. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Miss Susato. Miss Susato?
Ah! Oh no! What's the matter, Mr. Naruto?
He's on the ground, Susato. He is on the ground and his spine has been shattered. Nothing. I was just saying that we rely on your support today, but...
I'm so sorry. Of course, I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but... I shan't let you down.
Would you mind helping me to my feet then?
Oh dear, I'm really very sorry.
Susato-san isn't her usual self at all, but that's hardly surprising, I suppose. She's just found out that her father's the partner of a world-famous detective, not to mention...
Ah, good morning, sir.
Lord Van Zeek's. Thank you all for your efforts yesterday. What? Did I hear that correctly? Hell has frozen over. What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, I hope we can clear things up today. I really can't make this man out. His face says, I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all cannot speak today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday.
Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruto.
Good point. The Reaper. I suppose in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend. That led to all of this.
But you're not to be blamed for that, Lord Van Zeeks.
It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped so sharply when the public started calling... I cannot... CzarThwomp! Don't you mistake me for my learned Nipponese friend! I'm nothing like him! It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. That having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod. to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yes, we have heard that story too. When I lost him, I felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wonder perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. That I did not have to handle the mullet curse alone. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured by an over-imaginative public.
He was obviously extremely important to you. Lord Clint Van Zeeks.
Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life. And I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes, that burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Sorry, I can't help the shudder. It's instinctual at this point. Thank you. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Why do I hear boss music? Oh, Iris, when did you get here?
Oh. I bought you one of my special blends. Hurley loves it. It says it helps to clear his head.
I thank you.
Oh, hee.
That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris.
Oh?
Sort of subdued, I suppose.
I am not.
What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Scythe's laboratory.
All right, then. Good luck to you both. And by the way, Mr. Runo. Bye-bye, Runo.
What? Iris, no! Psh!
Runo is dead. He can't leave London now. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying?
I thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings.
Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready.
Get ready? For what?
The surprise, Runo. Your present. Oh, yes. Would you take this?
Isn't that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack?
Yes, it's a lucky charm, a little Hurley that I made once.
A Hurley? It looks more like a Harley to me.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
And then Rinosuke, he pulls the ears to that little rabbit plush, and then just they hear a big explosion. Oh no, Big Ben's gone down! What? Pull his ears?
That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it.
Iris' lucky charm has been entered into the court record.
You think what we'll need is luck? I just need to peek inside the courtroom. And it seems very different to normal.
Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean? Get ready to swim, my Nipponiese friend. Get ready to swim.
What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night. He hasn't come back by the time since I left this morning. Oh, I see.
Was Professor Mikadoba out all night too, do you think, Mr. Sato?
Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all.
They?
Father and Judge Shigoku, I mean.
Judge Shigoku too?
That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday.
Counsel for the defense and defendant. Court is about to be in session. Please make your ways out of the courtroom at once.
Good luck then, Runo. Good luck, Susie.
Yes, thanks, Iris.
And you, Mr. Reaper, I hope it goes well.
Why does this child frighten me? Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing.
Oh, I'm so glad. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zeeks.
Lord Van Zeeks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today, I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final reckoning. 3rd of November, 9:30 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. It feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday. There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today.
Ah! Mr. Naruto, look!
Lord Strongheart, that judge is dead, Mr. Naruto. I killed him and took his spot. Don't look at me. I was only an accomplice. Kazuma must have known beforehand. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, Mal Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority with my pimp unicorn staff. Look at this staff; it's pimping. I am the jury, I am the executioner, and I will be the bane of your existence. The 6 jurors, please, just as was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those that were present in that public gallery and distinguished members of the judiciary assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, I'm boned. A collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. Think of them as acolytes. Don't think of them as acolytes, Lord Van Zeeks. Think of them as disciples. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zeeks. You were a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare that this court be in session. For the trial of Barack Van Zeeks, who officially stands accused of murder. Counsel to the prosecution defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. That there was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to superiors at Scotland Yard. Apparently, he was terrified of her ladyship. We must find her ladyship before she grows even more powerful. Because you know it takes to terrify a guy like Tobias Gregson. It takes a lot to make him scared. And the fact that this her ladyship was terrifying him to no end, that's just unnerving. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice, Mr. Daily Vigil, who would be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work, when in fact, he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear that he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Good move on his part, because whilst he was engaged as chief warder of Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Steiner's. He recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed 1 day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Sogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. I threatened her with violence and sword strikes. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on the 31st of October, the day before his body was discovered. On Halloween, no less. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday that the time of death was 5 p.m. on the 1st of November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes, especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating the precise matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Yeah, it's our final case in the greatest attorney game unless Gina's present. Say your name and occupation for the court. Inspector Gina Lestrade reported Reaper, sensitive o Scotland Yard. A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Gina, again? What's your problem, Odo? What's with that, Gina? Again? Look, eh? The boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did. Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean? He got me out of the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. Now that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina. Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not all that he had his arms twisted by Mr. Sholmes. No. That Iris wasn't threatening to burn down his house. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. That face. Lord Strongheart knew. So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in the report. Coming right up, sir. All yard detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they've been told. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secrets meeting in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't on it yet. What matters most is there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at that place too. Smuggled goods? I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book. Tobacco, tea, spice, and medicines, good of all sorts, flown to London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets. It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked into the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority, without the Yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place at that time? in a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. It was the bouncy house. It was the jiggly hut. It was the jiggly room. And on that day in question, the accused is known to have been there, tipping, giving the exotic dancers tips. No, Gregson's in there. He's looking at one of the strippers. Gregson's that one guy. He looks at one particular stripper. He's like, I'll save you from this loft with fish and chips. That can't be. We haven't heard anything about this yet. Members of the club have testified to it. We have credible testimony from a dancer by the name of Cinnamon. And her co-dancer, Spice. And then we have a third one as well. Everything nice, except an apostrophe instead of a G. There is no question, the accused Barack Van Zieks was present. He got 3 lap dances and what was known as a maneuver known as raising the flagpole. That involves a lot of rubbing. That would be very significant testimony then.
Oh my, but Lord Van Zieks made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Van Zieks had ample opportunity to murder the victim after he had received pleasures from the flesh from all of the thick and rotund women. Very well then, counsel of the defense, begin your cross-examination. Okay, thankfully I have a good memory of this case. And for this one, we have to press this one right here.
Hold it!
Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place? Yup. It was all down the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember. As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Gregson wanted to be pleased. Yes, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary. What? It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings. I don't know what the fuss is all about. It's right here. All I gotta do is read it out. And I could too. I've got this reading game buttoned up now. Can I show what I can do? Go on. What's the arm? The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential, and CzarThwomp's iPad is now on low charge. It's on 3% charge. Yeah, I gotta plug in my iPad, if you'll excuse me. Yeah, just gotta plug it in. I know that the episode's going to end shortly, but frankly, I don't want it running out because basically that would be horrible for me. I would lose track of time, and that would be horrible for us all. So, let me go and plug it in. Just got to reach over, just got to extend over, got to extend my arm. Good, almost got it. Almost got it plugged in, okay, and we're all good. We are good. The iPad has been plugged in. You can sleep easy now. There shouldn't be any possibility of that information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is probably exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord, the prosecution has no objection. Kazuma. There's no question that Inspector Grayson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on the particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive. Right then, I get to show off me reading skills. Gina is so happy. Someone give Gina a hug, because Gina needs to tell us all her reading skills. Apparently, the smuggled goods deals was going to happen at a gentleman's club called the Gross.
Objection.
I read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, there are places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues while basically slipping dollar bills into the underwear of the strippers who walk by and get lap dances. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Yes, just no one, not just anyone can enter the strip club. Yeah, I love Kazuma's just embracing the Van Zeek's knowledge. Yeah, just Van Zeek's. Oh, my learned former apprentice. You think that is an insult? They would not. The women would be disgusted by you. They would not touch your dirty Nipponese money. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at the club called the Groose? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the police inspector Grayson was secretly going to visit on the 31st of October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irrelevant attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel. What next? You're gonna say that he was going to a brothel instead of the nudie bar? If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? It was a brothel, a high-class brothel, a steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it. Here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. The other side. Be more specific next time. This would appear to be a ticket for passage of our steamship, yes. The SS Groose.
Objection.
So there's a steamship named the Groose that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say that there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. The ship arrived in the port of Dover on the 1st of November. The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st of October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission, and that ship had not yet docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging.
Objection.
The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Groose on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Groose on the 31st of October. Okay, just gotta look for it. Just gotta look. Policeman figure, candelabra, frame, dismissal notice, no. Letter of introduction, Red League, armband, Irish looking charm, Clint's that's what. Oh, yes.
Take that!
It's proven by this evidence here. Time for you to shut up, Mr. Naruto. Yes, this evidence proves it, I think. The proof is still in the pudding? Those three equally nonsensical statements wasted 15 seconds of the court's time. You will accordingly suffer 15 seconds worth of penalty, counsel. I need to work on picking a more succinct turn of phrase.
I think you might need to work on picking a more appropriate piece of evidence first.
I'm sure Gregson was on board that ship the day before his body was found, and we know the SS Groose stopped at the port of Dunkirk in France for the night. I take from your expression that you intend to risk further penalty. Okay, basically, I know for a fact that we're going to be using the trunk very soon. Gregson photograph. No. Autopsy report. Crime scene plan. Notice board. Okay, old cases. No, that's not it. Photograph of the victim. No, I don't think so. Okay, inspector identification, the Asogi papers. How forgetting? How am I forgetting what this is? Autopsy report. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Taken. Okay. Measures were taken. Pricing plans. Okay. Clint's autopsy report. Gregson's autopsy report. Okay, I know that this may sound cheap, but frankly, I'm having a bit of a brain fart right here. Don't judge me. Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't investigate the trunk. I'm sorry, I didn't know the trunk could not be. Yes, I love just my logic. CzarThwomp. Not investing in the trunk. Let's have a look inside. I knew it was the trunk, but I just didn't have it. I just didn't have it down, apparently. Look, there's something inside.
Ooh, let's see.
It appears to be a passport authorizing him to travel overseas. Was Inspector Grayson about to go on a trip abroad then?
Perhaps the day of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh!
What is it?
It was for travel on the 31st of October, just one day before the incident.
What, really? Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered. Can we take his amenities? Okay, let's turn that off. Okay. And here we go. I knew basically it was the trunk. I knew the trunk had something to do with it.
Take that!
What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim? Dated 31st October? What are you suggesting? We'll answer that in the next episode. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye.